I have told you this 100 times, and I will say it a lot more. I love movies. And my favorite movie of all time is The Count of Monte Cristo. And so before you start to question my choice of movies, my rest of my top 5 will probably round out with Gladiator, Remember the Titans, Secondhand Lions, and The Emperor's Club. Godfather and all these things are great. For me and my style, that's what I love about art. It's very subjective, and I get to choose those things based on what I like and love. And when I say The Count of Monte Cristo, great cast. Henry Cavill, current Superman. Did they fire him yet? Is he still Superman? I don't know. They fire these guys pretty quick in this DC universe now. But he actually plays a character in there when he was a teenager. I mean, this is it's just a great cast. There's got a lot of really good people in it. But this film, when I've tried to think about what do I love about it and why do I count this as my favorite movie, the book's almost 200 years old, and the most recent film is a little over 20 years. So I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you, but you've had 200 years to read the book and figure it out. I still think it's worth the watch if you haven't seen it. So there is a guy, his name's Edmond, and Edmond is he's just a basic dude that you would see. Can't read, can't write. He's a laborer in town. But he is a good dude. He is just a great guy, has this beautiful girlfriend, Mercedes, and they are deeply, deeply, deeply in love. And he has a friend named, I'm gonna butcher this because my deep redneck accent does not do well with Alexander Dumas. That's a pretty language, but Fernand, we'll say it that way instead of Fernand, but Fernand has everything you can imagine. He has all the power, the prestige, anything you would want, society would tell you you need, he has it all. And he's friends with, I just went blank now. I'm saying all these names. I can't do it anymore. And so he's friends with Jim Caviezel's character, Edmond, what I just went blank on. So Edmond, one day, Fernand just gets frustrated, and he accuses Edmond of a crime that he did not commit, but he is convicted because Fernand has all the power, all the prestige, all the things, and he gets him accused of this crime, and he is convicted and sent to prison. And when he's going to prison, Edmond is just like, I didn't do this. I'm innocent. And when he gets to the prison he's going to, the guy said, I know you didn't do it. There's 100 legitimate prisons between where you started and where you are right now. If you had committed a crime, they would have put you in any of those. Someone needs you to disappear, and that's why you're here. So he's in this prison, he's there, and one day his floor starts to move. That would wig you out probably a little bit, and this old man comes through the floor, and they become friends. They start to talk, and he says, I'll teach you things, and Edmond's like, would you teach me to read and write? And he just laughs, he says, yes. Come to find out, there's this hidden treasure. He teaches him all these things, and Edmond is able to escape from prison. The old man dies, and Edmond escapes prison, and when he escapes, he goes and he finds the treasure. And all he wants, once he gets to treasure, is revenge. And this isn't like, like last night the lottery was like, I think 600 million or something like that. Like, this is like make Elon Musk look poor kind of money. I mean, this is like you buy every sports team in the world and you're still a 100 billionaire kind of money. I mean, this is ridiculous money that is in this treasure that he finds. So he takes this treasure and he changes his name from Edmond to the Count of Monte Cristo. I mean, it'd be cool to be a count, wouldn't it? Like the Count of Janson-Cité. I mean, you can just be this person, the Count of Rouen. I mean, it would just be you're a count. That's kind of cool. And you've got some prestige, you've got some power, you've got the juice to make almost anything happen at that point in time, and you're in the space. And so he goes in, and all he wants is revenge. And when he gets back into life and he finds Fernand, the first thing he finds out is that Mercedes has married Fernand. And his heart is devastated. But now he wants revenge even more. He just wants to destroy this. So to kind of move this along, I don't have 2.5 hours to requote a movie to you. He gets into a conversation with Mercedes. She finds out who he is. He learns that she had only married Fernand because she was going to have his baby, and she married him very, very quickly so that no one would know it was his and they would think it was Fernand's. And so it was just these moments and spaces. And so he's back in love with Mercedes, and he doesn't quite know about the son yet at this point. And so he is fighting Fernand, and then the son steps in and he finds out. As soon as he finds out there's a son, as soon as he finds out there's a family, as soon as he finds out all these things, he doesn't want revenge anymore. He asks for mercy. And in this process, he starts this conversation, and he tries to get away, and he tries to remove things, and ultimately, he and Fernand end up in a pretty deadly end of duel, and he says, what about your mercy? And he laughs at him. It's a quote from early in the movie. He's like, I'm a count, not a saint. And so as he kills him, he just can't. The mercy that was wanted wasn't necessarily received. But that's how most of us function. We tend to want revenge. We tend to want what we think is right until we're on the flip side. And then we want mercy. Fernand wanted power. He wanted control. He wanted everything that could be had until his life was in somebody else's hands. Until things weren't what he thought they should be. And then he wanted mercy. And that's the verse we're going to talk about today. I want to real quick do a reminder of the first verse that we talked about in this series. This Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5 through 7. Jesus starts out in the first few verses 3 through 12 in chapter 5 in what's called the Beatitudes. And we're journeying over an 8-week period. We've got this week plus 3 more where we're journeying through that. And Gary and I have been super intentional about this. I'm not going to recap the whole thing. That would get too long. But Jim kicked this off, and then Gary and I have both kind of rehashed this verse every week. But this verse is so critical. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And we've talked about for now 5 weeks that this isn't talking about financially poor. This isn't not having the tangible things that we want to hold on to. It's understanding that in our life we can do nothing separated or apart from Jesus Christ, apart from God the Creator, that we need Him. And so it is being without, is understanding that without Him we can't accomplish, and we can't step through anything. It is only through His work and through the Holy Spirit in our lives that we're able to do and to move. And so all things that happen through God. And so now we're going to step through this into this Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. We'll be here for a second, and then we're going to be in Luke. So if you have a paper Bible that you like to flip to, you can go to Luke 18, and if you use an app and stuff, you can get there too. But this Matthew chapter 5, verse 7 says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. That's really the opposite of revenge when you think about it and you start to step in. It's just this whole idea, it kind of flips it and moves it away when we give mercy. It moves us away from this desire to get what we want. It's a desire to help others, which kind of leads to this definition of mercy. Compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. Mercy is compassion or forgiveness shown to someone when it's within your power to punish or harm them. See, having power, having control, I mean, it can feel good. I mean, it can be awesome sometimes when you have all the power. But mercy comes when we have all of that power and we decide not to use it. We decide not to punish, but instead we show forgiveness and compassion. And really, that's been the intent of what God wanted for us from the beginning. Like you see even in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, it says, He has shown you, O mortal, and some translations say, O man, He's shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. I mean, this has been kind of God's plan from the beginning, is for us. You think God could have worked through Micah to say any words He wanted, but He says that we are to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. God has always desired for us to love mercy more than revenge. To love, to give mercy, to show mercy more than He desires for us to gain revenge. I love this quote that I read earlier. It says, mercy always involves action to reduce or remove the misery that has come about in someone else's life. Mercy always involves the action to reduce or remove the misery that has come about in someone's life. And so when you think about this, mercy, usually is needed when it comes to one of two things. One is a circumstance that's out of their control. You think about like a natural disaster. That's really out of our control. somebody's house, a hurricane, tornadoes, things come through. I saw something, I think I said it in the first service, and I think I said it in a way that I didn't mean to, and it kind of came out as funny, like they committed arson, and that is not what I meant. But I saw a post just even yesterday on social media that someone in our community here in Irwood, that their house has burned down, and their church and other people are starting to come together and trying to get gift cards and things like that to help this family. And, they didn't do anything to intentionally burn their house down. Most of us, that's the space we would be in. If something happened at our house, it would be very accidental. It wouldn't be something that was intentional or that was meant to happen. But something that's out of control, out of our control, is something that requires mercy. Another thing that requires mercy is the impact of sin. When somebody has sin in their life, it requires us to have mercy in that space. I have this friend, and he and I have been friends for tons of years. And he literally just burned his life to the ground. He had a great family, kids, a great job, and he just made some choices, and absolutely, and I hope one day, now God has unbelievably restored and done some things, and his story is such a great testament of God's faithfulness and mercy and love inside of what he does for us. But there was a point in time in this that I couldn't take his calls anymore. And I've told him this recently. I couldn't take your calls because every time the phone rang, it was just manipulation of trying to get me to do this or to say this or to influence this or to do that. And I was just going, man, that doesn't seem like something Jesus is looking for. It seems like what you're looking for. And I can't show mercy in that. I don't need revenge. You've been punished enough. I just can't do this space anymore. And so I had to step away from a bit. And now our relationship's closer than it's ever been. We go places together. We've been to Braves games together, and we just do tons of life and live together really closely because God did something huge. But it is inside the middle of something that's really, really big, a sin or something that's huge, that it requires us to show mercy because, think about it, that's when things are hard. That's when somebody needs us to rally around them, and we need to show some mercy. Because if they haven't done anything wrong, why would we show mercy? We're just buddies. We're hanging out. But inside of sin, it requires showing mercy. And see, mercy assumes that there is a miserable situation needing relief. Mercy can only show up when there have been circumstances to warrant it. Mercy can be defined as compassion for someone in need. And I love this here. It involves reducing, removing, or relieving someone's distress. It involves reducing, removing, or relieving someone's distress. Before we jump into the scripture in Luke 18 that we're going to be working through today, I just want to say one thing about what Jesus was saying here inside of this verse and inside of this Matthew, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Receiving mercy, according to this verse, is based on showing mercy. Karma has this whole vibe that got sucked into mysticism and things, but God was speaking this long before the world grabbed a hold of it. Blessed are the merciful, those who show mercy, because they'll receive mercy. This is where this gets hard for us sometimes, because God can do whatever he wants. And sometimes we see absolutely terrible people get shown mercy that we don't think deserve mercy, because they never show mercy. They never give mercy. They're horrible. They're just, we think they're terrible people. Society would say they're not great people, but they tend to kind of get shown mercy somehow, or shown grace somehow, shown this somehow. And it is really complicated in this space to understand. But God gets to do what he wants. But for us, many times, that starts to become the issue. And we look at certain people who society says should receive mercy, and maybe we resent that because someone has power. They get shown mercy because they have the ability to help the right people, and the person who doesn't have the ability to help suffers. And we think that's wrong. And what's funny is so did Jesus. Luke chapter 18, verses 9 through 14, is what we're going to dive into today. Starting out, you see it up here on the screen. To some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down on everyone else, Jesus told this parable. I love how he starts this. I love this so much. To those who thought they were cooler than they actually are. To those who think they are the most important person in the room. To those who, you know, you've got somebody in your brain right now. To those who think they are the bee's knees, or whatever the phrase is from whatever generation you need to say, here's a parable for you. So Jesus basically looks and says, to all of you who think you have it together and you're really important, you've heard my stories long enough. This doesn't end well for you. So we jump back in. It says, 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. And just real quick here. Just Pharisees and tax collectors. We've been over this a bunch. Pharisees, religious leader of the day. They were the people who helped over 600 laws. They helped everybody. They held people accountable to keeping those. They kept those to, at least they said they kept them to the best, what they could, and they kept those laws, and they were super, super powerful in that space, and they held all the power in the religious world. And then you have tax collectors, which, let's just get to the bottom line here, is a criminal. Tax collectors, and look, none of us all of us would love to keep our money. We do not like paying taxes. If I said show of hands, we would all raise our hands. We understand there are roads that need to happen. We understand there are things that need to go, but sometimes we'd all be like, let us have our money and we'll set aside and we'll fix the pothole that's been in our road for 19 years. And then and whatever road they're fixing, we will fix our own road. So we would all have these stories. We would all have these things. All of us hate paying taxes. We all want to keep all of our money, and I understand how that goes. But in this point in time, tax collectors were collecting money for the government, but they were putting unnecessary and unneeded taxes on there to fund their own lifestyle, to fund things that they wanted to do, to take advantage of people that many of them were struggling. Many of them were fishermen and owned little shops and doing blacksmith work and woodwork and things like that. And it's just these things, I said earlier in the last service, I'm rewatching the Andy Griffith Show, and it's always funny to me what happened in society years and years and years ago, that I'm going, wow, if you tried to remake that show now, you would get canceled. Or this would not work, or this would not go, or this wouldn't end well. And I listened to the price of things, and it's like, oh, they bought my meal. It was 70 cents. And I'm going, oh, my goodness, could you imagine getting a full meal for 70 cents these days? And it's just those things of, so people that were in that space, you think about it, you keep going back and back and back, and how little they had and how much things cost. And these guys are robbing them and taking money from them. And so we jump back in. So we see now these guys are in here, and they've come to the temple to pray. And then it says, the Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, God, I thank you. Okay, I need to not, that's my pretentious jerk voice, and I'm trying not to do that, so I'll try and read it maybe God did write it that way. I have no clue, but I'm going to try and read it how I should. But God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I just can't stop it. It really is how this should be read. I fast twice a week and give 1/10 of all I get. But the tax collector stood at a distance, unable. Guys, understand, he's at the back. He can't even bring himself to go fully in. The tax collector stood at a distance, would not even look up to heaven, beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all of those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. The struggle is this. If we didn't know how the story ended, and we were told, Pharisee, religious leader of the day, tax collector, a criminal, are the two characters in the story, we know who we would put the hero as. We would put the hero as the religious leader. Our minds would want to create the hero as the good person. The good person is the hero. It's why we struggle sometimes with these superhero movies and things, like Loki. when you think about it, like we struggle with Loki as a character because we really want to love him, but he does just enough bad that we hate him. And he rides this middle ground that we can't understand. And we're like, oh, if you would just be good, go help Thor. Oh, stop throwing Thor into another universe. Help us out here, Loki. Fix this somehow. If we could just understand exactly what was going on. And the problem is that we, and this is what Jesus is saying there, we've set this hero standard. We've set this up because what we see is religious leader good. But then we look at his prayer. And he walks in and he's like, Lord God, here I am. How awesome am I? I'm not like that loser over there. I mean, he starts calling out, the people that he talks about in this thing, robbers and evildoers, adulterers. And then even specifically just points across the room and says, that loser, that criminal, I'm so much better than him. And the reality comes down to that we do that same thing. Let me say this. I do that same thing. Y'all are all way better Christians than I am. I'm sure you don't do that. But we see people and we go, God, I understand where I'm at. But I'm so much better than they are. Do you know what they did yesterday? Do you know what they said yesterday? Do you know how they acted yesterday? Do you know how they responded to that situation? And this Pharisee, he has all of this power and all of these things. But then the tax collector walks into the room, not even able to go fully in, can't lift his head. He's embarrassed. He's broken. He's in this space where he's just like, I don't even know. And all he can do is just pound his chest and say, God, please have mercy on me. And in Jesus' typical form, like we've talked about in this entire thing, you've heard it said, but I say. You've heard it said, but I say. Jesus says the latter, the one you wouldn't think, is the one that will leave justified. I love how James 4:6 says he opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. And that's the bump that we get into and the struggle that we face, is that we understand society and culture and faith in the way that maybe we've heard it, we've been taught, we've kind of lived in this thing, and God continues to say, I desire something different. I desire something new from you. Years ago, there was this song that came out called Mercy Came Running by a group called Phillips, Craig and Dean. And I told you guys, I kind of grew up in a King James only, Southern Gospel only space. And, we wore suits and ties to church. And that's fine. I love that space for me. I still love a good quartet. I'll stop as I'm flipping through if the Gaithers are on TV and I'll listen. And I enjoy that style of music. And so we all kind of need things sometimes that require us to transition to kind of help us move through phases of life. And it was guys like Phillips, Craig and Dean who sang this song that probably helped me as I was kind of moving from a very Southern gospel world to contemporary Christian to get to, enjoying like a really wide range of music now. And they sang this song. And a lot of you, this may not be your style of music, and you may have never listened to this, but we're going to do kind of the opposite of what we told our parents when we were teenagers. When we were teenagers, we were like, Mom and Dad, I don't even know the words. I'm just listening to the beat. But now we're actually going to ignore the beat, so don't worry about what it actually sounded like. I'm not even going to sing it for you. We're just going to listen to the words. But this was the chorus in that song. Mercy came running like a prisoner set free, past all my failures to the point of my need, when the sin that I carried was all I could see. And when I could not reach mercy, mercy came running to me. The struggle, the bump, the tension, is that so many times we feel like we're good and we're good enough. And we feel like we can attain and we can just grab a hold and we can do, and we don't need this grace and we don't need this mercy. A lot of times we want mercy, we don't feel like we deserve it. Sometimes we even want, it stops us from giving mercy. We can't extend it because we just feel so inadequate. And the struggle is, the sins that we carry are all that we can see. And in a moment where all we could do was see the struggle, we could see the hurt, we could see the pain, we could see the past, and that's all we could see. Mercy. Jesus, God through his Son, came running. And it's like the movie that we were just talking about. When Ed Mine got free from prison, he came barreling out of the water, running, just hands in the air, turning flips and cartwheels, and he was so excited. No one is set free. Not you, not me. That as we're set free, we aren't running and moving as fast as we can for the joy of what we have been released from. The band's coming back up, and I'm going to steal a little bit of their thunder. They're getting ready to do a song called God Really Loves Us. And the second verse of that song, and I think Aaron's good enough, he'll have it up here on the screen for us. When I was listening to him sing this morning, I just typed this into my notes. And it just says this: his mercy's enough. His grace is sufficient. So come if you're needing forgiveness or healing. His mercy's enough. And this is our hope. The cross it is spoken. Death is no more. Christ is our Lord. This is our hope. This isn't an easy statement to hear. It's not easy to say. But hang with me a minute. You're not enough on your own. We live in this you do, you boo society. You live your best life. You do your thing. And all I really see it create is struggle and gap and hurt. And I'm not trying to talk down to you or to myself. But we are not enough outside of what Jesus Christ did for us. It is only God through his Son that we are enough. And in him and through him and through his Spirit, we have more than we would ever need. And so today, I don't know what you're going through. I know what I'm going through. I know my struggles. I know my junk. I know my muck and hurt and dirt that I'm wallowing in. But I don't know yours. And I don't know how you're trying to get through it. I don't know how you're facing it. I don't know how you're walking into it. But if you're in the junk and you're in the dirt and you're in the hurt and you're in the muck and you've got the thing, you need mercy. You need hope. You need grace. I need those things. So here's what I'm going to ask. I'm just going to say it. We're going to finish up here. There will come a point in time today that we will leave this building, and I want you to show all the mercy you can. I want you to show mercy to every person that you see. I want you to be the most merciful person that that you can. But in the next few minutes, they've got one song, and if they need to sing it 2 or 3 times, we've got plenty of time. They can. Today, you need to receive God's mercy. Again, I don't know what the junk is. I don't know what the hurt is. I don't know what the thing you're holding on to. I don't know the stuff that you're just like, God, I've got this. I'm not going to let it go. God, I don't need you here. Like, hey, I waited. You didn't come through, so I've just grabbed this, and we'll go here. And you're just holding on, and you've got this angst inside of you, and you need mercy. And today's a day that I just want to ask you to maybe release and let God give it to you. Because he's been trying. He's been working. He's been patient. See, it's on us that we're not willing to receive the mercy and the grace that God wants to give. And we hold on to these hurts and things, and God's like, I want to heal you. I want to help. I want to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear this out, and it's up. If you want to come up here, you can. If you want to pray, this is open. And if you want to pray from your seat, you can. If you just want to sing and go get lunch, give us 5 minutes, and you will be there. If you need somebody to pray with you, Melissa and I are standing over here. You can come grab us. If you come up here to pray and somebody comes up behind you and just you hear somebody praying over you, just keep praying. We're not asking you to turn around. It's just somebody caring for you, loving you. I just want to remind you that in a moment where it was hopeless, mercy came. And it didn't come slowly. It didn't come quietly. It came fiercely. And it came in a way that radically changed the scope of history forever. And that mercy is still here. It is still present. And it is still working. And God wants you to receive that